Ah yes, the power of the humble template. Who knew something so simple could make production so fast and easy? The only problem is that it takes some time to load. Anyways, here's mine. Yo, like and subscribe. Okay, first of all, the master has a couple automations that I usually use for a build-up. We have stereo width, a high and low pass, and a volume automation clip. The high and low passes are through this EQ2 and the volume through this fruity balance. Next, I have two sidechains. This main one has all the synth and effect buses linked to it, as well as any extra percussive elements that I might use, like toms and whatnot. The cymbal sidechain is self-explanatory. I used to have all the cymbals going to the main one, but then I found out I might want to sidechain them differently sometimes, so now they're separate. Pretty much every mixer track has an EQ on it, and this, which I call a mixer cap. It's just Serum's compressor keeping anything from going past 0 dB and a fruity balance for volume automations because I'd like to keep the main mixer volume sliders constant, but also sometimes automate volume. The kicks don't have this because the compressor creates unsatisfactory distortion in kicks when they go above 0 dB, and since everything I make is constantly clipping, which is something I should probably fix, I had to remove that. Needless to say, I didn't know that when I made the first edition of this template, and some of my songs that you'll hear eventually are pretty distorted in their kicks, especially one in particular. I also have everything split into groups with enough tracks per group to satiate my needs for normal use. Like, I don't normally have more than 3 kicks in a song. I used to have 15 slots for FX, but I never used most of them, and then I started doing most of the effects in a separate project and then importing them into the main one just in one audio file, so I didn't need that much. Unlike basses, which I'm now realizing I might need more of. I used to have the open hi-hat and hi-hat buses routed into one big hat bus for the both of them because they sounded similar, but I removed that. The buses also have an EQ2 with a built-in high and low pass, and the sub-bass bus has a mid-side EQ to keep all the low-end mono. I might also consider putting this soft clipper on all the kicks because I use it a lot, but maybe another time. The groups are also colored accordingly. Oh, also select a desired track and then click on this icon of another track to route to it. Control-click to route only to it, and then right-click to see more options. Coming back to the master and sidechains and stuff over here for a second, right-click, dock to, and I put them on the left with the master. You can also click this bar here to hide them. Along with that, on every first mixer track of a group, I put a separator. Right-click and just separator. F9 to get to the mixer, by the way. For the playlist, I also have these sections using FL Studio's grouping system. Right-click and group with track above to do this. For every top track of each group, I went to the very side here and click to make them smaller. You can press this button to expand and contract the whole group. I put all the drums in one place along with the side chain, which I lock by shift-clicking on the on and off button. You can still turn them on and off, but when you solo a track, they'll either stay on or off according to the lock, which is really useful for stuff like automations that you might want to stay on while soloing something. Speaking of automation, whenever I use an automation with a sound, I insert a new track under it to put the automation as to not mess up the rest of the organization. I also do this if I run out of tracks to put audio or MIDI clips in because I quite dislike putting different sounds on the same track. I do the same in the mixer, which I do a lot for basses, of course. I used to have entire rows dedicated to automation, but I never used them, so I went from converting them to the normal group track to just using the system I do now. F5 to get to the playlist. In the channel rack, I do the same thing as before, a group per type of sound. I have cymbals all in one though. And the resource section is for those master automations, sidechains, the songs key, and reference tracks and such. F6 to get to this. That's pretty much it. Once again, I'll include a download link to this in the description of my YouTube video if you feel so obliged. I guess I'll be doing some type of download for every video. Anyways, that's all for now. Peace.